Did you ever feel afraid during one of those missions?
Oh yeah, there were a few times. So one of the the subtitles, of course, of the book is talks about fear, and I'll just describe one of those if I can for the audience. On my first mission, I was selected for that mission. We were supposed to lift off 8 months after my selection for that mission, so it was going to be a short run. It ended up being about 2 years or more, almost 3 years, so 2.5 years by the time I finished my basic training and then mission specific training. And so we had all of these setbacks where we would go into quarantine and then something would happen. Then we'd have to come out of quarantine because I had to fix something on the shuttle. And so we did that about 3 times. And on the third time, we were all successful, went through quarantine. We donned our suits. We went out to the launch pad. We got in our seats. They closed the hatch. We had the countdown as normal. And at T minus 5 seconds, the main engines lit. The main engines are the engines on the shuttle itself. And we want to make sure that those engines are running up to speed before we light the solid rocket motors, because once you light the solid rocket motors, you can't turn them off. And so we usually do those engines first. So about 2.5 seconds into that 5 second burn, one of the engines failed and caught on fire because it's hydrogen and oxygen. So it's pretty volatile stuff. And I remember sitting in the seat in the flight deck and seeing the fire out the window, the back window, and the smoke and steam coming up the side. Now you could probably imagine that got my attention. That's what we say when as astronauts, if we are in a position where it's a little fearful. It did. It got all of our attentions there. And so they were able to put the fire out because we have these huge water cannons that sprayed down the vehicle. We had to sit there for about 40 minutes. And then we eventually got us out of the vehicle, and we had to stand down for a month. And then a month later, we lifted off. And people ask me, didn't it, the fact that your engine failed and, had some issues and you still wanted to go into space? I said, well, after that, I figured that things worked. The system worked. It caught it. And so I was actually much more comfortable, going up that elevator to get into the vehicle than I was the first time, because I had been there and done that. And I knew that the system works.